Hey guys, I just wanted to jump on here and share some things quickly with you that I've been meaning to post for some time now. Finally got a little bit of alone time to do this stuff. At least I think I have some alone time. My kids are in the other room, so I apologize if you hear them being a little loud. Two little girls, and they can get crazy, especially with how close they are in age. So I just kind of want to go back to the end of 2016, because this is when mostly all the things that I'm going to talk about and how they go together started. I know I've shared this story with some of you on Facebook and not Facebook, but YouTube, and you may be familiar with the story, but for you who don't and maybe have been seeing the same numbers that God's been showing you, that he's showing me, maybe it'll be some confirmation for you. So I figure I share what I have to say. So this technically goes back to November of 2016. At that point in time, my dad was extremely sick. He had kidney failure, actually stage 5 kidney failure. At that point in time, he was a diabetic, and he had congestive heart failure. So he was in and out of hospital a lot. And, you know, it wasn't uncommon to get a phone call and say, hey, you know, hey, your dad's in the hospital, and you deal with running back and forth to the hospital, working, and taking care of family. So once again, back in November of 2016, I was being woken up almost on a daily basis at 4:44 a.m. Literally almost sometimes feeling like something was shaking me, waking me up, like, hey, get up. You know, like we would shake somebody to get them up in the morning. And then sometimes I would just wake up and it'd be 4:44 in the morning on the clock every morning. So after a few nights of that, I said, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say to me? And I prayed on it, I prayed on it, I prayed on it. And some months passed by, and one day I was in my room just sitting there, and my daughter comes in. Now, at that point in time, Gabby so she just turned 8. Gosh, time goes so fast. At that point in time, she was 7. So she was 7 at the time, and she comes in the room and she says, Mom, how do you spell Mene? And I'm like, wait. Oh, no, wait. She didn't ask me how to spell it. What she did, see, this is why I should upload these things at the time they happen, because then I end up getting it all messed up. She came and she asked me what Mene meant. And then I said to her, I said, Mene? And I said, well, spell it. And she goes, M-E-N-E. Well, I about fell out my chair, because I'm like, wait a minute, how do you know this word? Now, as soon as she said it, I knew it was some kind of word God was speaking to me through her, because I immediately thought of the book of Daniel. And so I said, well, honey, spell it. Because I'm like, well, maybe she's pronouncing it wrong. She said M-E-N-E. I said, oh, my Lord. I said, well, who's being weighed? Who's being weighed right now? And so for some reason, the 444 just popped up in my head. Like there was some kind of connection with the 444 and what my daughter just asked me. Now, she's 7. And she's read children's Bibles before, but she's never once read an adult version of Daniel, where it talks about Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin, and how that kingdom was getting ready to be judged, like immediate judgment, that night judgment. I would urge you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, to go and read that in Daniel, where it would make more sense to what I'm saying. So I said, who's getting ready to be weighed? So at this point in time, it was early 2017, because like I said, my dad was sick, late 2016, and out of hospital with him. So the reason why I thought, okay, let me back this train up. The reason why I thought that the 444 may have had something to do with him, because my dad was born on April 4th, 1944. So 4/4/44. So I thought at that point in time that God was trying to tell me something about him, maybe a message, maybe talk to him about something. Now, I'm not going to get into the dirt with my family, but my dad, I had a feeling that he wasn't saved. Just by how he had lived his life and the things that he had done, just in my childhood, and, you know, the marriage with my mom. And so at one point in time, months later, I had a conversation with my dad, and I said, Dad, you need to give your life to the Lord. And I flat out said to him, I was like, Dad, I don't want you to end up going to hell. So you need to confess your sins and turn your life over to the Lord. Because at that point in time, I was still thinking that the 444 had to do with my dad. And then my daughter comes in months later, asks me what Mene meant. And so now I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? Why is she asking me that? She shouldn't even know that word. So months go by. My dad's getting progressively sick, more sick. And the doctors had recommended that he start getting dialysis, which he just flat out refused to do. He just said, I'm not doing dialysis. So spring went by, got through summer. So into summer, I want to say, so I'll incorporate this dream that I had real quick, because I think it goes into the word that was spoken in my spirit that I still haven't had confirmation on what it means. But on August 18th, 2017, exactly 3 days before the solar eclipse, what they call the Great American Solar Eclipse. I had a dream. We were in a house in Ohio, just a random person's house. I didn't even know whose house it was. And also all these end time dreams, any kind of dreams that I might consider prophetic, or where God's trying to show me something that's going to happen. It's always just me and my girls. My husband's never there. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why, but he's never there. It's always just me and my girls. So we're in this random house in Ohio. And the girls are inside playing. I don't know the people who lives in this house. I don't know the owner of the house. We were just in the house, and we were in Ohio. I stepped outside just for a moment, and there was, as I stepped out, I looked up, and the eclipse was beginning to happen. But as it was happening, I could see 5 celestial, I'm going to call them celestial bodies. They look like planets, even though I don't believe in planets. We're not going to go into the flat earth thing, but I don't believe in planets. But they looked like what they portray as being a planet, like a circular celestial body. Now, there were 5 to 6 of them, and there was one that was larger than, it was the largest, but not as large as the sun. So it was larger than the other 5. And when I looked up and I saw it, I immediately said, it's the dragon. Like, I knew in my dream that it was the dragon. And the biggest one was the dragon. The other 5 circular celestial looking objects, I knew as the tail of the dragon. In my dream, like I didn't wake up and say, okay, and interpret just dreaming for myself. It was like I was dreaming these things and interpreting while I was dreaming. So that happened 3 days before the solar eclipse happened on August 21st. So a couple more months go by. And then my dad passed away on October 11th. 4 days after my birthday. So, and you know, the sad thing about that is I didn't talk to my dad. My dad didn't, like, I would call and he wouldn't return my phone calls. And come to find out from his girlfriend, which is a whole nother mess. Come to find out from her, she said he wouldn't return my phone calls because he didn't want me trying to urge him to go to the hospital, because he was sick. Like, he refused dialysis. So he literally was just drowning himself in his own body fluid. So I hadn't talked to my dad in months, and I never spoke to him before he passed away. Very sad situation, but it kind of goes with the rest of my dad's life. My dad he lived a very sad life, just out of bad decisions, and you know, it's just a mess. Left his kids in a mess behind, because now we don't even know what happened to him, you know, once he passed away. So anyway, moving on. So at that point in time, once the solar eclipse happened, and then my daughter came forward with the Mene, God had confirmed that 444 truly had to do with what she said about Mene and the solar eclipse. And that the solar eclipse is the coming judgment on this nation for literally just turning their backs on God. So it's a warning sign. God was still giving us a chance to turn back towards him, but nothing's changed. You know, murder is still happening at an alarming rate. Matter of fact, a young boy that I didn't really grow up with, but his cousin was like one of my best friends from childhood. He just was murdered along with his 7-year-old son at a home near where I grew up. People are still killing each other. People are still killing babies, aborting babies. People are still living in bondage, you know, heavy drug use, and infidelities and adulteries, and sins of the flesh. You know, the strip club that's literally 5-7 minutes away from my house, still popping. You know, the parking lot's still full. Saturday nights, it's like the place to be. So we have not turned our face towards God, and God is going to judge this nation soon. That eclipse was the turning point for America to get themselves together, and we haven't. You know, we're still defiant, and it's just sad because you try to share these things with people and they don't want to listen, and they've made themselves God, and they say we don't need the Creator. So I know I'm getting a little bit off track, but that eclipse was definitely, you know, an indicator of what God has coming for this nation and the judgment. That's why I really recommend that you go and read Daniel, so that you can get a better gist of what I'm talking about. So I just want to wrap this up soon, because I think there's a limit.